Hey, have you been thinking about supporting That's Good Sports on Patreon? No? Well, these weekly prediction videos are available only on Patreon. I just wanted to post here so you know when I say patrons get an exclusive Pick'em episode every week. This is what Will and I are doing. Enjoy. Okay, welcome to week 13, the Patreon Pick'em episode podcast. I'm going to bring the heat today because we might post this episode on YouTube to entice more people to give me their fucking money.
I need to start trying in that case.
We obviously prepared our hair today for this episode, so
we just start to look more like each other with every passing week.
Yeah, just call us the Messy Boys.
Mm-hmm.
Our face and
ridiculous
hair look similar. Our shitty backdrops that are mostly barren with just bullshit in the background. Really classing it up here with your Patreon money that you give us. Using it on smart things like alcohol and I bought an Oculus Quest, so
how much was that? Is that more than say an Xbox Series X?
No, I don't think so. My wife wanted it for Christmas, so we gave it to ourselves early.
How much does the Quest run you?
It varies. I think you can get it for $199 to $399.
Oh wow.
Yeah. You ever played virtual reality, Will?
I think once, at a bar, I put on the headset, one of those game bars. You know what I'm talking about? I think that's it though. I'd love to play some football.
Yeah, it's
we need a good football video game. I think
they have a decent one. It's actually if you throw a football well in real life, adjusting to video game throwing, I think is much harder. Because you want to do the whole motion and you just got to do this.
You got to flick it. Yeah, that's annoying. You guys like you and I, we have rifles and it's hard to throttle down.
It really is.
So we don't. Yeah, it's not for us necessarily, but I guess we adjust to our situations and we win no matter the circumstances.
We're just two winners, the Messy Boy winners. We're gonna start with New Orleans Saints at Atlanta Falcons. Saints favored by 3 in this affair. So the 9-2 Saints, I forget that their record's that good because they kind of got that slow start to the season. They could be the first team in the NFL to clinch a playoff spot with a win and a Bears loss to Detroit, which is likely. Taysom Hill against Atlanta through his career has a punt block, I believe. He scored a rushing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, and followed that performance with 2 rushing touchdowns and 275 plus yards of offense when he got his first start a couple weeks ago. So Hill needs that type of performance against Atlanta because he barely looked better than Kendall Hinton when the Broncos played the Saints. And, of course, Hinton had played 0 NFL snaps at all, specifically quarterback. And we learned this week they were using him as a defensive back on the scout team for the Broncos. So I think the Saints are going to win this game, even though Atlanta just annihilated the Raiders. Saints got a good defense, and I'm gonna keep betting on that until proven wrong.
They do. They sacked Matt Ryan, I think 8 times last time they played.
Yeah,
and the last time they played was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
they're playing 2 out of 3 here.
I hate when
it's very bizarre
when division games. I feel like you see it a lot where. I felt like the Broncos did that last year with the Chargers. Something like that. It's you play them, then you play a different team, then you play a division rival again, the same one. There's a little space between those games. But you gonna roll with the Saints here, Will?
I'm taking the Saints as well. Like you said, even though they crushed the Raiders last week, I like the Saints a little bit better.
All right. Lions at Bears. Bears favored by 3. This will be Detroit's first game without head coach Matt Patricia. Darrell Bevell is the interim head coach, maybe the least sexy interim head coach of the year. We could do a whole video about 2020's interim head coaches, I think, if we wanted. The Lions are getting healthier. DeAndre Swift should be back, as will Danny Amendola. They still don't have Kenny Golladay and their first-round pick, Jeff Okudah. I think he's still out. And the Bears' 5-game losing streak. Man. I'm gonna take Detroit on the road. What are your thoughts?
I'm gonna take Detroit too. I think we love that interim coach first game bump.
That's like
I'm taking it.
If we were a betting podcast, that would be our lock bet of the week.
Yeah.
Take the interim head coach bump.
Unfortunately, we don't do any betting programs.
We like to keep our money. Yeah, I mean, the Bears, I think they have the second worst running offense in the league. I've got a stat later on.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's really it's really so self-defeating because all you have to do with the great defense is run the fucking football.
Yeah.
And yeah, they didn't upgrade their run game after last season. If they could run the ball, like you could see Nick Foles or even Mitch Trubisky being semi-competent, and it doesn't take much. You got a running game and a defense. It doesn't take much out of your quarterback to win. So the fact that they couldn't do that is, it's what's sinking them at this point.
I think Trubisky's playing this week, right? Is he starting?
Yeah, I believe so.
So if I were the Bears, I would try to utilize his athleticism, knowing how hard it's been to get shit going in their run game. We've seen Trubisky run the ball effectively. I would just do that all game. He's not the guy. Nick Foles is not the guy. So you risk nothing by running the shit out of your quarterback and seeing if you can get something going that way. But I like the Detroit Lions. Getting DeAndre Swift back will be enough of a boost for them. And fuck it, Matty Stafford, best quarterback in this game. All right, Colts at Texans. Indy favored by 3.5. We learned this week that punter / kickoff specialist Rigoberto Sanchez had a cancerous tumor removed this week. They said the surgery went well, but they're not sure when he'll return. So that's something to watch. Basically, I think this game, if I could take Deshaun Watson and put him on the Colts for Deshaun Watson's sake, the Colts would be right there with the Steelers and Chiefs as the best fucking team in the NFL. I just feel so bad for Deshaun Watson. I started kind of looking at his production this season. And if you take away those first 2 weeks where the offense was not playing great. I mean, Houston hasn't been good all season long. But since that time, over the last 9 games, he's had over 100 passer rating. Just once has he not had 100, over 100 in the last 9 games. 24 touchdowns to 5 picks, and he's getting no help. No help at all. Houston's second worst to the Bears with just 83.9 yard rushing per game. So Houston, I feel bad for Deshaun Watson. I was high on the Colts, not so much now. They still have a good team, but Phillip Rivers kind of got hurt. Jacoby Brissett took over last week. I just don't know. I don't know if I can rely on their offense to be a legitimate playoff team anymore.
Yeah, it's when you're thinking about it, trying to imagine this Colts team with a great quarterback. Oh, you can do it. You just go back to 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sad. I'm going to take You took the Colts? Did you take
Yeah.
the Texans?
Oh, wait. Yeah, I'm gonna. Fuck. No, I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna go ahead and roll with the Texans.
Okay, I'm taking the Colts then.
Texans showed out the last game against the Lions. They get 10 days rest.
They did. That is true.
Really trying to talk myself into it. Okay, so
I think that flea flicker from Duke Johnson to Deshaun Watson that he threw to Will Fuller for a touchdown was like the greatest flea flicker I think I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck it, no.
Like bounced it outside and then threw it back.
Yeah, the play was awesome. So was the fumble Ruski Washington did. I forgot to fucking put that in the best and worst episode. I'm taking Indianapolis because I just remembered that Will Fuller and Bradley Roby both got those PED suspensions.
Oh, that's right.
That's big for me. Will Fuller is an important part of that offense. So, sorry, Deshaun. I'm going to go with the Colts too. All right, Bengals, Dolphins. Second biggest spread of the week. Dolphins favored by 11 and a half. I think is Fitzpatrick starting again?
I would imagine they're going back to Tua this week.
Was his thumb fine?
Find out. Tua is on track to return, so they haven't decided yet.
Okay.
I would imagine it's going to be – I mean, is it going to change your pick at all?
No, I'm just curious for whether I can use Ryan Fitzpatrick in my thumbnail next week.
Yeah.
Anytime you put Fitz in there, the video does a little bit better.
You can just put him in regardless.
Actually, both Fitz and Tua, you put either one of those guys in there. I think Miami's got like a sneaky good fan base. And I don't know.
I think they don't really go to the games quite as much, but that's because they're home waiting to watch videos of their quarterback.
Yeah, or maybe here's my thought. Everybody loves Ryan Fitzpatrick, so people will watch something that's got Fitz in it. Tua went to Alabama, so I think the video where he got his first start did really well. So maybe it's just a bunch of diehard Alabama fans watching their man Tua play. So I thought this was kind of interesting. Miami, third worst rushing attack, 95.3 yards per game. Bengals, fourth worst, 96.3. So you've got the Bears, the Texans, the Bengals, the Dolphins, all bottom tier running teams. Dolphins are the only ones with a winning record. I think Tampa Bay also was tied with the Dolphins or was fifth worst in the league. But so credit Miami for getting wins with defense, their special teams, because they're also not like this electric passing team. Although Devontae Parker's got to be he's like, to me, watching him play, he's like a top 3 receiver. Just so I feel like underrated because Dolphins aren't lighting teams up through the air, but he's just such a good receiver. I'm going to take the Dolphins, obviously. You're taking the Dolphins as well.
I will take the Dolphins as well.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit about the Bengals anymore because Joe Burrow's hurt. That team is dead to everyone in the NFL without Joe Burrow.
Still, I think they played it was against the Giants, but they played close last week.
Yeah, they kept it close against the Giants.
Close. I think Brandon Allen is like a pretty decent backup.
No, I wish the Broncos still had kept him.
Yeah.
They could have kept Brandon Allen, not paid Jeff Driscoll, and they probably would have been better off this year. The Bengals had a chance to win the game, and the Giants got that strip sack last week, so it was close. Yeah. All right, Jaguars at Vikings. Here's what I put in the rundown. Fantasy alert, ! The Jags run defense, fourth worst in the league right now, 136 yards per game, and that is with Dalvin Cook on the radar. And he's going to play. He had an ankle injury last week. Looked pretty scary at first. But that's a great matchup if he does play, even if his ankle's a little fucked up. Kirk Cousins, we gave him the Big Dick Player Award. Also got the NFC Offensive Player of the Week award.
They're just copying us at this point.
I think so. And Dalvin Cook got NFC Player of the Month. Mike Glennon will get the start. Despite he almost helped Jacksonville beat.
Yeah, he almost sabotaged the whole thing. And when you think about it, they have to count on a slip up from the Jets.
Yeah.
And at this point, like, I think when you're tanking, the goal is to have the best, worst record possible, right? Because if the second worst team goes like 3-13, you want to go 2-14. You don't just want to go 0-16. You want to, you don't want to be embarrassed quite that bad. But really, the only way the Jets can hang on to this number one pick is to not win any sort of games.
Yeah.
And it's looking like they're going to do it. Even with Sam Darnold back, which is just so goddamn sad. And we'll talk about that in the next game. But, of course, I'm taking the Vikings here.
Yeah, we're both taking the Vikings. We might as well just start talking about the Jets. I think we've kind of touched on this, but not firing Adam Gase
Stroke of genius.
Is the best thing. Is Joe Douglas, right? That's their GM. Joe Douglas, the best move he'll make
so smart
is letting Gase finish coaching this season, because he's not going to get the interim boost where the Jets get that miracle win. They will lock in that top draft pick to get their quarterback, assuming Trevor Lawrence doesn't dodge the Jets. I guess if you're Trevor Lawrence, would you want to go, like, the Jets, a New York market team, seems like a place you would want to go as a number one overall pick if you knew, if Joe Douglas told you he's going to fire Adam Gase. Well, I guess that would happen before the draft anyway. Like,
right.
Would you want to go to the Jets without Adam Gase, I guess is my question. Because I feel like that's –
yeah, I think everybody talks about them like they're this cursed franchise. And in terms of their lack of success or lack of Super Bowl appearances, in a way they are, but they're not as bad as this season has made them out to be. I think a lot of people were actually pretty high on the Jets coming into the season because they finished off strong.
They did
last year. And it just so happened that everything fell apart this season. And we're like, okay, Adam Gase is actually a very bad coach. It's time to move on. But no, I think if they get the right guy in there, everybody seemed to like the Joe Douglas hire. We'll give him some more time because these aren't all his players. They still had to get Le'Veon Bell out of the equation.
Yeah.
Who wasn't – I don't think that was his signing, bizarrely. They hired him weirdly late in the process.
It was –
so that was a misstep. But
Mike
no,
McCagnon?
I think – is that right. Yeah. McCagnon. I thought Todd Bowles was a pretty good coach.
Yeah.
Not great, but yeah, I think you get the right guy in there, and I think it'd be a good situation for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, if the Jets could get, say, Robert Saleh, then –
yeah, it's better than Jacksonville, for sure.
Better than Jacksonville. Michigan, their state legislators are lobbying for Robert Saleh to come coach the Detroit Lions, which is fucking awesome. So he's going to be the hottest head coaching candidate. And I think Richard Sherman's like ringing endorsement of him helped like skyrocket him to the top of everybody's list, because if you've got a guy coming over who the players love playing for, to me, that's like almost the most important thing you can have.
The opposite of Matt Patricia.
100% the opposite. Did you read any of those Matt Patricia alleged burner account tweets?
No, I didn't see those.
It's just this random dude defending like Matt Patricia to all these like tweets shitting on him. It's pretty funny. But yeah, I think the Jets are worth worth saving. If you can get a QB there, they should have some stock and fucking draft picks now, I guess. But I'm going to take the Raiders to win. Obviously, the Jets are 8.5-point dogs. The Vegas coming off a terrible loss, and the best thing you can get after that is a Jets game. So
exactly, it's the, like I said earlier, it's the free spot on the bingo card.
Oh yeah, and Sam Darnold's been playing horrible. He's averaging an NFL low 5.7 yards per passing attempt, which is tied with Jake Luton and Andy Dalton. So, and they've done it in quite a few less passing attempts, I believe. Although Darnold's been pretty banged up on and off this year.
Yeah, he's played more than those two. But speaking of Andy Dalton, for the love of God, please watch our Gingers video.
Oh, yeah.
Top 5 Gingers.
Top 5 redheads, just in case that is offensive in NFL history. All right, Browns at Titans. This is a big game. Titans favored by 5.5. Huge running back matchup. Will?
Yes.
You've got the top 2 teams rushing the ball. The Browns are number 1. That surprised me just a tiny bit. 161.4 rushing yards per game. Titans right behind them at 158.2. So Chubb getting healthy, key for the Browns. Bradley Chubb averaging 6.3 yards per carry right now on 115 attempts. Then you look at Derrick Henry, who's 4.9 yards. He has 4.9 yards per attempt, but he has 256 carries this season, which is it's just crazy. The Titans are getting their money's worth. And I love watching Nick Chubb run. I love watching Derrick Henry run. They're very different, but they're just so good. They're 2 running backs who are so good. I think the difference for me in this game, why I'm going to go with the Titans, and it's not just because they're favored, Ryan Tannehill. If one quarterback's got to carry their team, I just trust Ryan Tannehill more than Baker Mayfield. Even though Baker's limited the interceptions, he's missed a couple bad open throws in the end zone, I think, in back-to-back weeks. And, Tanny's just the better quarterback, so I'm taking Tennessee.
Agreed. I'm taking the Titans as well.
Sick.
All right. Rams at Cardinals. This is, I feel like 2 weeks ago or maybe 3 weeks ago, this would have been potentially the game of the week. And they both came off of losses last week. The Cardinals, I think, they've lost 2 in a row since the DeAndre Hopkins Hail Mary. So the Rams are 7-4. The Cardinals are now 6-5. Seems like I think they're both trailing to the Seahawks now in the NFC West, but they're still both in it. This one's in Arizona. I really trust the Rams to bounce back from a loss, so I think I'm going to take the Rams.
Yeah, I'm taking the Rams too. Actually, no, fuck it. I'll go with the Cardinals just to change it up. I think the Rams might win. Obviously, Jared Goff, you just got to stop throwing interceptions. It's like 4 in the last 2 games. They beat the Bucs, and then they lost last week. Cardinals, I'm going to take the Cardinals because if they can get this win, then they play the Giants and the Eagles. So I think they just need that spark to start them on a roll. And Kyler Murray too. Like the Rams' strength is their defense and getting pressure on quarterbacks, even though they didn't do it against fucking Tom Brady. I think Kyler Murray's athleticism can mitigate that. So that's a logical reason that I talked myself into my pick.
Understandable.
All
okay,
right.
We'll kind of hustle through these next 2, 3, 4 games maybe.
Yep.
So we got the Giants at the Seahawks. Daniel Jones, I don't think he's going to play.
Oh.
It's probably going to be Colt McCoy. Seahawks are already favored by 10. Imagine that goes up. I think that one's pretty easy, even though the Giants have been playing good football recently. Philadelphia at the Packers.
Wait, hold on. I didn't say who I'm taking.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I'm taking the Seahawks, Will. That's for Trevor. Your boy Trevor P. Just so he knows.
Price.
All right.
Shout out to him as always.
Eagles at Packers.
Eagles at Packers. Packers are 8.5-point favorites. Carson Wentz, he's just been very bad. I watched a good video by Brett Coleman recently about why Wentz has been bad. And it's kind of like a mechanics thing. His mechanics are just god awful. It's like he does the splits when he throws, and it like he can't get any elevation on his passes now, and he always points his toe in the wrong direction, which is like quarterbacking 101 if you've ever studied mechanics.
It's like the second thing you learn.
Yeah, it's like the second thing you learn in like pretty much any sport too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you want to throw a good basketball pass. You could, throw it to first base. Hey, just step there, and it's probably going to go there. So that's really troubling. I'm taking the Packers. It's unbelievable that Aaron Rodgers is not really being discussed anymore
for the MVP.
As MVP, and he's on pace for 49 fucking touchdowns.
Yep. Right now, 33 TDs to 4 picks. He's getting the best protection of his life, just a 13% pressure rate compared to 21 and 26 over the last 2 years. And only Roethlisberger and Phillip Rivers have been sacked less than him. I think they have 10 sacks, Rodgers 11. So Rivers only being sacked 10 times, really no excuse for him not being fucking awesome with the Colts.
And another point to like MVP versus best quarterback stats, which I think it's like, can we agree that this is a valuable player discussion and not just like, Patrick Mahomes got the best stats this year? Aaron Rodgers is throwing to Robert Tonyan. He's making like a Pro Bowl tight end out of Robert Tonyan.
Just like last season, the Packers wide receivers group has navigated a bunch of injuries. And if you look at like Mahomes, his team is incredibly healthy. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce there every week. Russell Wilson's offense outside of the Chris Carson injury been very healthy. His receiving targets, and these have been like the three guys kind of going back and forth in the MVP talk. So based on value to their team,
it's Rodgers by a landslide.
Mahomes is there, but I would like Aaron Rodgers to me is like if you lost him, the Packers would be the worst team next to the Seahawks and then the Chiefs. Yeah. But, anyway, we're both taking the Packers. Then we've got the Patriots at the Chargers.
Interesting game, I think, here.
I love it. The Chargers are at home, and they're still 1-point underdogs. Justin Herbert, top 10 passer in the NFL right now. We know that. Cam Newton, though, bottom 10, 4 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. When I saw that, I was like, I knew he'd been playing bad because he's one of my fantasy quarterbacks. I had him and Drew Brees thinking, I'm going to coast through this QB season. But no, Cam's been pretty bad through the air. Herbert, 23 touchdowns, 7 picks. Cam's passer rating, 79.8, 5th worst, ahead of Daniel Jones, Carson Wentz, Drew Lock, Sam Darnold, and yet the Chargers, still a worse record than the Patriots. So I'm going to pick the Chargers to actually win.
In Cam's defense, he does have 9 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, no, he does.
I think it's worth pointing out. You still want to have more than 4 touchdown passes, but that Patriots offense is bizarre.
No, it's
very bizarre.
He has very little help in the passing game, but
agreed. He might have definitely worse wide receivers than and tight ends if you want to throw that in there.
Yeah.
Robert Tonyan would be a welcome addition to the Patriots.
He's got the worst
receiving group.
He's got the worst receiving group in the NFL.
Yeah, I'd say like Jacoby Myers has probably been his best receiver this year.
Yep.
So Well, yeah, I mean, Cam's in a tough spot here.
You
The
took
Chargers. Uh, sorry.
I was say you took the Patriots last week, right? And
Yeah,
got
I'm going to take him again. I mean, the Chargers pathologically lose games.
they do.
I don't like. Okay, it's kind of like the Mahomes thing with Justin Herbert. It's like, yes, he has wonderful stats, but at some point you have to finish these games off. Is the object of football not to win games? Because the MVP and Rookie of the Year, it's just like it's becoming like you can put it into a machine and they'll pump out who gets these awards.
Right.
And I think it's more than that. So I don't know. I mean, he's been very good, and he's probably going to have the best stats out of any rookie quarterback ever. But I don't think he's played better than, say, Russell Wilson back in 2012, Andrew Luck in 2012. That's one of the most impressive rookie seasons I can remember. Even Baker Mayfield in 2018. It felt like they did more for their team in terms of kind of switching that culture around. And Herbert feels like he's been a great passer, but he doesn't like lift that team at all in terms of their like morale or their ability to win close games. So, and that's worth something to me. It's more than okay, he's throwing nice passes and
that's
got
fair.
23 touchdown
But
passes.
The rest of the team's got to close out games too. Like that defense doesn't have any excuses. They've got
he threw a late pick last week too.
Yeah. No, don't get me wrong. He's made some mistakes in the fourth quarter, but if any team should be used to that, it's the Chargers, Will. And
absolutely,
they just got Austin Eckler back. So I think like if they win this game, more so than anything Herbert does, it's that they're going to have some dynamic play from their running back. And I think maybe a week under his britches, Austin Eckler will be a difference maker. So.
Yeah, and to be clear, I don't think this is who Justin Herbert's necessarily going to be his entire career, a guy who puts up big stats and loses, but that's who he is this year. And I don't know if that's worth Rookie of the Year over someone like Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson.
It's also like it feels like every award is becoming a quarterback award rather than
I support it not going to a QB if other players emerge as more impactful. Yeah. And
that's all I have to say.
Then you could argue.
You certainly could. I'm taking the Patriots. Broncos at Chiefs. I think we're both taking.
I'm going to take the Chiefs there. Our prediction episode will be up Saturday morning on that.
God, I wish they would flex this game.
Yeah, I don't want to. No, we're just going to get embarrassed in prime time. Fucking
yeah, and then the NFL is going to be like, well, here's another 3 years of not being able to be on Sunday Night Football because we put you in a no-win situation.
That's why I'm rooting for Chris Collinsworth to offend the entire states of Kansas and Missouri.
I don't think anything he said about women is going to offend those states.
No, he's got to attack them where it hurts.
Barbecue?
Yep. I think we made a joke about that, and a bunch of people do not fucking talk about our barbecue. All right.
Don't worry, I won't. Brooklyn's got the best barbecue. Everybody knows that.
Who does?
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, yeah. Colorado, not a big barbecue state. All right, Washington at Pittsburgh. Steelers favored by 7.5. Yeah, Steelers lose Bud Dupree. That's big from the Wednesday game. Washington, what do you have here? Won 2 straight after losing by 6 combined.
They've won 2 straight, so they've won their last 2 games. Before that, they lost 2 straight games, but it was only by 3 points each. So they've been playing really close.
Yeah. Alex Smith's making a difference.
Absolutely.
Consistent quarterback. Their defense is good too. Their defense looked good early, and you were onto that. And then they lose they're just trying to figure out their quarterback situation. The defense wasn't playing as well, but it's kind of picking back up. So this could be a trap game for the Steelers, maybe.
It could. I'm going to take the Steelers in this situation, although they haven't played. This will be their third game in 12 years. 12 years, 12 days. They really don't play very often. But they're 11-0, and it doesn't feel like it's getting talked about that this is a team that could potentially go undefeated. Don't you think any other year this would be a major storyline, that the fact that a team is 11-0 right now?
Yeah, no, it'd be huge.
It's bizarre how under the radar, and the fact that they're a team that is 11-0, but they don't really – it doesn't feel like they have a ton of pressure on them, makes me feel like they can do it.
Oh, so they've got a great chance.
Their schedule coming up, I don't think it happens, because I think it's just so difficult to pull something like that off. But just even to have like a 1 out of 4 chance, I think is really, really good odds. So after this game, they've got Washington. They've got Cincinnati. I think they definitely win that game. Buffalo's
13-0.
Buffalo's going to be really difficult. Indy will be a tough test. And then they have Cleveland, who they historically stuff in a locker every time they play.
Yeah, they're basically the Chiefs to the Broncos in that scenario. But when I first looked at those games, I was like, oh, Buffalo's the only team that can beat them. But that's not true. Buffalo could beat them. Indy could beat them. And the final week of the season, depending on what happens with Cleveland and their playoff positioning, they could beat them. Especially if Cleveland continues to run the ball as effectively as they do, that could be a game where the game doesn't matter for Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And they don't.
Yeah, but I mean, it does matter though if you're 15-0.
If you're 15-0, yeah.
If you're 14-1, it doesn't matter. If you're 15-0, you got to try to win.
I think they'll lose before that. I think they'll actually lose to Buffalo and to Indy exactly the same way the 13-0 Broncos did when they played the Giants and the Dolphins. And then they'll bounce back and be ready for the playoffs. I think the Steelers are definitely not the best 11-0 team I've seen. I don't think they're a bad team. I think they're getting knocked just because their schedule has been kind of easy. But they're a good football team, and they just do enough to win. And I think if they played good teams, it would kind of be the same scenario.
They're still going to be – the funny thing, too, is they could go 16-0, and they're still not going to be favored against the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Which is it's mind-boggling to think about. I don't – well, and there's no debate that would be the case, right? No.
And the Bud Dupree injury, that's a big one.
It's not as bad as if TJ Watt got hurt, but it's pretty big.
But a guy like TJ Watt draws attention, so a guy like Bud Dupree can be, your fucking I was going to say Shaq Barrett or Shane Ray when they're with the Broncos and they're going in. It's just yeah, TJ Watt's really good. I was going to say the Steelers, if you're going to say why they could beat the Chiefs, it would be pressure on the quarterback. And without Bud Dupree, that becomes a little tougher.
It's a little trickier.
All right, we're both taking the Steelers. Then we got Bills at 49ers. I'm going to keep rolling with my Billies.
I'll take the 49ers. Why not?
49ers showed up last week.
This game is I don't think I wrote this, but I believe it's in Arizona.
Oh, yeah. Monday night.
It?
Yeah.
This is this is totally strange. I don't think we've seen this since, well, I want to say the last time we saw this was the Saints played 2005. They played in a different stadium because of Hurricane Katrina. I want to say there's a game in 2014 where a team had to play in a different stadium, but I can't put my finger on it. If someone knows, feel free to tweet us or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the Niners are hosting 2 games in Arizona.
Yeah, so this is because Santa Clara County basically kicked them out. And I don't think the Oakland Coliseum is approved, like it's up to code at this point. Which is crazy. It's too dangerous to play. Yeah. It's such a weird situation, but I think it might kind of band them together, and I don't know, they're familiar with that stadium at least. Don't even get me started just about California in general.
Yeah. You going to take the Niners or not?
Yeah, I'm taking the 49ers.
Okay. Then final Tuesday game, Cowboys at Ravens. I'm taking the Ravens.
Give me the fucking Ravens.
You're taking the Ravens. And this is what we're going to end with. The Cowboys play the Ravens. Dallas, good chance to lose. Washington football team plays the Steelers. Good chance to lose. Eagles play the Packers. Great chance to lose. Giants play the Seahawks. Great chance to lose. So the NFC East could go 0-4 this week, which is the number one thing I am rooting for. That's a good place to end, right?
That's a great place to end. Yeah, we've got to talk to Adam now. I just texted him.
Yeah, got a call with Adam from 5 Points, doing some big ideas. Thank you guys for watching here on Patreon. Good night and good
luck.